notes that you're taking, be sure at the end that you are going to take a picture of your notes. That way we have verification that you were here and that you're learning something, okay? So the title for the first part of the lesson today is going to be change. Change. That's going to be our title today. Okay, so hopefully we have gotten started on the live streaming. It didn't say it, but maybe I missed it. Okay, let me mark this off. All right, so alcohol and drug recovery, one of the main things that you have to do is you've got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. When people begin in recovery, I often hear them talk about how life is so sometimes boring, but different when they get into recovery. This is when you are at the early stages of recovery, you're maintaining your sobriety. And in that early stage, you're doing that for about 90 days until you turn into a different stage. So your abstinence being drug-free, that's what you've got to do to begin with. But you've got to recognize that something needs to change in your life, and you've got to recognize that you have a problem. You have got to be open and honest with yourself and recognize you have a problem, or you're not going to be, you're not entering into any of the stages. So oftentimes in that first phase of recovery, in the abstinence phase, where you are completely sober, you are recognizing that things have to change in your life. If you're not recognizing things have to change, you're not going to stay sober very long. You're not going to last for those 90 days because you can't continue to live like you've always lived and expect different results. So one of the first things I hear is it's nice to not have to be so conscientious of how am I going to get what I need to get through the day? And do I have enough to get through the day? How am I going to get it? Where am I going to get it? I got to get up early and start working towards maintaining my drug habit. Anybody relate to that? Every day. You have to get to where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then you have to recognize that you've got to start making changes in your life, or you're not going to make it through that first initial abstinence period. Okay? Now, what kind of changes have to be made? Now, we already know, this is what we already, yes, people, places, and things. The basics that we know, but I'm going to take us to a different level here in just a minute. But we definitely know people, places, and things. We have got to change the people that we're around. We've got to change the places that we go, and we got to change the things that we do. Okay? We have to do that. It's a complete 180. We are not the same person. We are not living the same lifestyle that we used to live. So it's two. I'm sorry? That's exactly where I'm going with this.
I used to call it change your playground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Attitude.
I like it. Attitude, I hear. Playground. I'll go ahead and put that up here. You're really starting to get in recovery in that abstinence phase because you are recognizing, I don't want to do this lifestyle like this anymore, but you can't seem to sometimes make the changes necessary. Why is it so hard? Or is it hard?
Denial is one.
Denial? That's right. We're in denial. So you have to be honest with yourself. If you're in denial, you're not going to be starting the sobriety. You're not going to be able to get into that first abstinence phase if you're in denial. And the denial piece is there once we get past that. And I don't know what it's going to take sometimes for people to get past the denial phase. What has to happen? You know,
They have to hit rock bottom a lot of times.
you have to hit bottom, and bottom's different for everybody. So it could be, you know, maybe your bottom is your kids being removed. Maybe, you know, we just hope and pray that your rock bottom is not death, because you cannot recover from that, right? But you never know. You never know. And you continue to use, and you just don't ever know. That's why this is so important that you make these changes that are necessary. But one of the hardest things to do in life, this is not even about A&D. One of the hardest things to do in life is change. It's very hard. How many of you agree with me on that? That change is hard.
Change is hard.
Change is hard.
Creatures of habit, and
We're creatures of habit. It's hard to accept that you've got to make changes. You know, there was a time with Marvin that he knew that a change needed to be made. And he fought it. Didn't you fight it for a long time? It was a fight. And I think we were already past the abstinence stage. You were maintaining your sobriety. But that one change was very, very hard. So, for example, if one of the changes you have to make is about your significant other, if they are a negative, if they are not appropriate, if they are using, if they continue to use, you've got to make a change. You're about you. So if you're going to stay with them, you got to recognize you're not changing the playground.
Once I become single, it just smooths out.
Good. Wow. Once he became single, it smooths out. And I like that because
I worry too much about it.
that's right. And in Marvin's case, we were just talking about this in a funny way over here, but it's real. One of the main things that Marvin always did, like the playground, was he always had a significant other. There was always somebody in his life. For him to make a change and to be by himself was huge, wasn't it?
I've never been single, really.
Never, ever been single.
Long relationship, I know.
That's right.
that was me until the last 2 years. Now I've been single for 2 years, and I don't think I'll ever be in another relationship.
Good for you. Good for you. Because when you are single, that's when you can really work on yourself. Like Marvin said, the distractions are gone. The distractions are gone.
Yeah, the where you're trying to be on one path, and then it's no, you need it. Like who's shining over here, and,
Right.
Or I mean, you're not. That's been part of my thing. Was it's like I told Danielle, it's like I'm usually true with what I say and whatever that I'm trying to do, unless I'm misguided. You know, unless I'm led astray, and that is a big thing. Like that's exactly what happened. I mean, it's not all of it. You know?
Right.
I mean, I know there's blame. There's a huge blame on me. You know, for
And here's the question you have to ask yourself. Why am I allowing myself to be led astray? You know, that's back to, it is very hard, but it is not impossible. But what happens when it's human nature to not want to be lonely. It's human nature to want to have a significant other, to want to have a connection. It is. But just because that you're lonely for a time that you need to be, whatever that time is. For me, it was many years, many, 17, 18, 20 years. And that's what it took. And the longer I stayed single, the more I recognized what inappropriate choices I was making. I was still choosing that same partner that I was trying to get away from. I was still
Boundaries.
attracting that. I was still choosing that same partner I was trying to get away from. That is an example of a change in thought process. Because, you know, it's not easy to change people, places, and things, but that's like okay, I know where I'm going to go. I'm going to go directly from home to work. At work, I'm going to go directly home. I'm not going over here and stopping here and there. I know what places to avoid. It's factual, right? It's factual. I know who I don't need to be hanging around with. Though those are facts that you can identify, right? That makes it a little bit easier that it's facts, but the thought process is what makes it very hard. Because you have to ask yourself, What leads me back? What leads me back? I know better, but what leads me back? I know better, but I've still got this same old thought. I'm still going these same old directions in my head.
Yeah, I think that's where, because a lot of times I'm going back over to those places, but I mean, it's not because of the drug, and it's not because of it's some sort of weird thing. Okay, if I'm not going over there because of this, then why am I going over there?
Correct. Because
Yeah.
if you're not careful, and I've just seen it happen too many times, eventually it will be about drugs. Eventually. It's different for everybody. You might go 5 years, but eventually it will be about drugs.
Yeah.
You might make it 6 months. But if you're around people who are doing drugs, you're not going to be able to maintain your sobriety.
I have to set myself boundaries.
You know, I mean, I can go there and have a soda and sing karaoke or do whatever, but even to attempt that, you know, okay, well, that's fine. I might have been able to do it like one time, but what about the next time?
That's right.
You know? Yeah.
That's right. Boundaries. You got to give yourself boundaries. Absolutely. It's just not okay. It's not okay. You've got to do what you know works for you. So it's, if you're being led to these different places or playgrounds or whatever, to these significant others,
Yeah.
what is underlying? Why are we? Why is that a trigger? That's what I'm asking. It's deep.
One of my exes, I think it was Faith, like, because I seen him
Do you think it was what?
Faith.
Faith. Okay.
Okay, false faith, obviously, you know, but I thought I believe that I seen him sober, I seen him clean,
Uh-huh.
I seen him do this, and I know that we're not. That's one of our triggers, I think, or not triggers, but one of the, I guess, rules or whatever. Like you're not supposed to, get involved with somebody and whatever because you're both gonna fail. I don't know,
Correct.
but I mean, that I think was what it was, and I was just had faith in him that he was,
Mhm.
because he would try and try and try. He would.
What do we learn? What do we know about faith? We have faith in our higher power. That's where we have faith. Why do we not have faith in another human being?
Because he usually disappoint us.
Because they're a human being. They're
They're
going to mess up. So the only faith that we can have that works is in our higher power and in ourselves. So we can't say, "Oh, they've been doing well for so long." Okay, let me just tell you, if something's meant to be, it will be. It will find a way to be if it is meant to be.
Another reason I kept going back to my drug or whatever was because it numbed me from having to feel life,
Absolutely.
from having to deal with pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely it does. That's exactly why addicts are addicts. Yeah. They begin to recognize there's something good about the drug. Oh, it numbs me or it makes me feel better. And I don't have to deal with life. I don't have to deal with my feelings, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's outside of this real world we all live in, which is why it's a problem. It's why it didn't work. Absolutely. So it's like, what is it going to take to recognize that we are being led down these paths? Like, what is our real need? What is the underlying reason? To avoid feelings. What is the reason that you underlying? Is it a need is it loneliness? Is it boredom?
I think it was, I know with the drinking and stuff, it was definitely like, the environment, like going out and, being around people and not being stuck at home. And so that is where, you really need to buckle down and be like, it's okay for you to be, in your home by yourself, like it's okay to.
That's right. That's right.
It
doesn't have to be fun.
It's been long. I mean, there are people that I could call and be like, I'm in my head, get me out. And then just start talking, what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Being
in my head is a big one.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, I'll call somebody and be like, hey, get me out of my head. And they'll talk about a movie or whatever can come up in their mind, you know what I mean?
And for you to recognize it and actually reach out for help, for somebody to help you through that is absolutely what you have to do. That's perfect.
I was once told that you need to make a list of like 5 people to call if you get the urge to use. Go down like the least critical all the way to the person you want to tell last. And if you still want to lose or use after you've talked to every single one of those people, then
And you know what?
Yeah,
This
we
is
got one
and this is
cheap
actually what we're
They
going to
will.
do. And our first set of notes is actually a safety plan. Have it right in front of me. That's exactly right. So the number one thing, so we can try to make this as black and white as we can because we recognize people, places, and things. We know those. So let's make it as black and white as we can on how to change our thought process. Okay. So number one, when we recognize we're in our head, just title safety plan. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go to the safety plan since we're already talking about it. Hello, Nate.
Hello.
We're celebrating your attendance today by getting everybody frappes.
No.
It's all because of Nate. We're going to do a safety plan. And the safety plan for when we get in our heads. How about that? First thing I want you to do is places, people, places, and things to avoid. Make you a quick list. So it is on paper in black and white. You can put initials. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? People, places, and things. I'm going to avoid the whatever bar you go to. I'm not going to be showing up over here at so-and-so's house. I'm not giving so-and-so a ride. People, places, and things that you have to avoid, black and white. Because the thought process, we're going to do that last. And that's what's going to take us around to being able to do these things, okay? So people, places, and things to avoid. And really, it needs to be anybody. If you're trying to live a life of recovery and making changes, it needs to be anybody in your world that brings you down, that's negative. You know, you don't, that could be a trigger for you. So you're going to put initials and the specific places you know you can't go to. Yep. Black and white. It can't happen anymore. If you're going to be able to maintain in that early phase and beyond. So here's the thing about change. Now, and let me say this because I recognize this in my own life. So this is real stuff here. Change is hard. Now, here's the thing. You got to recognize if you're looking at it as changing everything all at once, wow. You know, we do have to have some compassion because that's hard. It's hard to look at it that way. Now, that's what we know works. So if you could recognize one or two things on there that you know you are not going to do. You know there's tons of things you're not going to do. But if you can focus in on the main things you're not going to do, then that's going to be huge because you're watering that thought. And if you're going to avoid those two main things in your mind, then the rest of it should be pretty easy if you're able to do that. Does that make sense? Because sometimes it's really hard to look at change in the whole picture, like a 180 all of a sudden. That's hard.
Yeah.
But if you really are sick and tired of being sick and tired, you want to do this. You will want to do this. People, places, and things. The second thing is, who do I call? Who do I reach out to? Who do I make that call? I got this going on. Yes.
Miss Heidi or Tina is who I'm going to call.
There you go. Just not Ghostbusters. I was thinking of it. That's so beautiful. Bless me. I just have to say, I'm not a comedian. Who's going to call?
I've been saying that last
No,
day.
you really have to know. Who can I reach out to and say, hey, I need some help? I know. I could list mine. I know exactly. And, you know, ironically, my mom's one of them now. She would have never been in the past. And here's the thing. You don't want to call somebody who's going to judge you or put you down or who is going to criticize you. That's not somebody that needs to be on your list.
And sometimes it doesn't require a You don't need to use, you don't need, sometimes it's just a conversation.
That's absolutely right. Somebody
Sometimes
to
it's just,
listen.
You know,
Somebody to listen.
you know, you just talk to me
Mhm.
about what you had for breakfast. Talk
There you
to me
go.
about just whatever. Just,
It's a good point because
When
that's
I
taking
get
you
back
out of your
to
thoughts.
Just hearing my girls' voices like will knock me out of it.
Yes. Very good. You know what works. That's the thing is we got to continue to do what works. I have a friend that I would call, and she's out of state right now, and I don't talk to her near as much as I used to. But every time I would call her, I would go to her about the same old things, you know. And she would say, "No, remember, now we've been here before. We've had this conversation before, and you figured it out before. Remind me of what you did that worked." And I'll tell her. She said, "Okay." Like she's listening and reminding me of what works, and she's putting me back on track doing that. She's not, "Oh, here we go again. Oh my gosh, what is it now?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have a plan. You have a plan. And I mean, if it could be more than one person, you need to have a few people, if at all possible, because what if you can't get hold of that one person? You know what I'm saying? You need to have some ideas of who would be appropriate. I've got an old friend that's now kind of reconnected from school. And wow, I've called him up last couple of days over a little silly stuff. And he just made me feel better by listening to him laugh, you know?
Yeah.
Just got me back on track, got me off that track, back on another track.
I don't know if you're big on sponsors or not, but a sponsor would be a great person.
Absolutely. And if you have a sponsor, put down a sponsor. Everybody, what we know about the 12 steps is the 12 steps works, it's proven. And one of the main things of the 12 steps is to have a sponsor. Now we have a new list over there hanging up of all the different Celebrate Recoveries, AAs, and NAs that are around here within 20 to 30 miles. But that literally works. And I know a lot of people use my groups, you know, as an AA NA meeting. Absolutely. This is what it is. We're trying to teach. You know, it's a lot of teaching because there's so many things you have to understand about yourself to be different. A lot of teaching. But that's why we have aftercare here. You know, that's why I got Marvin here continuing to come. I got Nate. I got his family continue. It's aftercare, Crystal, meaning it doesn't end when you get your goal met, when you get your kids back. It doesn't end. It's ongoing. This is a forever change. But you may have to take it one step at a time and be compassionate. The goal always is maintaining your sobriety. Always maintaining your sobriety. Okay, for example, I'm all the time giving you examples, but yesterday I had a plan. And I decided I was going to clean out the garage. And I did it exactly what I wanted to do. And I did it. It took the whole afternoon practically, you know? And I feel so much better because I set me a small goal. It was actually a big goal, but it was just a one little goal. And I did it. And that made me feel good about myself. When we feel good about ourselves, we don't want to go hurt ourselves and pull ourselves back down. We like that feeling, right? That's a natural high. Accomplishing small goals is a natural high. Makes me feel good. And then I turned it into a little workshop because I'm like, I've still got stuff in there, so I can't get the car in. So I've got this old wood ironing board, so I put it up and I put it near some shelves, like a little area. Got my paint and stuff and my scissors and my material. And so yesterday I made pumpkins. I made craft. Have you ever seen if you have stuffing and you have material and I did it without glue or sewing. And I got pictures. I had this stuffing from this old pillow that I found in the garage that was coming apart and pulled it out and made different sizes and put my material, got me a stick, stuck it in the middle, got me a rubber band, put it around there, got it all. Then I put I have 3 blinky stretchable rings.
Yeah.
Blinky, blingy. And I put it over the little top of the pumpkin.
Yeah.
And it's so freaking cute. So I'll show y'all pictures of that when we have break. But it's
I
so
do
freaking
that.
cute.
I
Do
love
you like to
DIY.
craft?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I do all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome. I mean, that works for me. You got to find what works for you. But that takes me into a better place in my head. You know, it does take me to a better place. Okay. So do you have who you're going to call? Do you have that? You know who that is, what that is, who that is. You got the number and everything, right? In your phone. No,
That's who I call. I say Ghostbusters.
I know. BR 549.
No, 8675309.
Is that your? Ah, that's right. That's good. I like that. I like that one better. We have to have some fun, right? You don't have a number? You need a number.
You sure know how
There
to
you
call
go.
me and your mama.
You've got a number. Everybody needs somebody to help them. We all need support. Reach out for help. That's something else we got to do different than we have ever before.
I have a hard time doing that.
I know. A lot of people do. That's another change we got to make, though. That's another change. So let's go ahead and add that. People, places, and things. Who do I call? And 3, be able to ask for help. Be able to ask for help. Recognize that it's normal to have help. Everybody needs help sometimes. We cannot get the help we need if we don't ask for it, right? We can't get the help we need if we don't ask for it.
Amen.
Amen. Absolutely. Addicts don't want to. They don't want to. You know, have you ever wondered why it's so hard in recovery to ask for help?
Because of yours.
Because you're in denial. You don't want to admit that you do have a problem.
You're in denial. You don't want to admit that you need help, or you're ashamed and you've used people before. So then you feel like, oh, they're going to think this or they're going to think that. But the difference is you're asking different people for help. You're not asking the same kind of person for help, right? It's real. And guess what? You might not get exactly what you want, but the fact that you ask for help, you're doing the next right thing. It's opening doors. It's opening doors for you. Something good is going to come out of it.
Making that change.
So our Frappuccinos just got here. So everybody's wandered over to get their drink. So I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to you guys on the screen. That's good.
Hey.
Okay. So change in how we think. A change in how we think. We're going to get through this little piece here and then we'll take a break.
Yes.
Awesome.
Don't break.
What now? Don't break.
Don't break.
Change in how we think. Okay, does everybody have this last one? And then I'm going to go back to it.
Changing how we think.
Let me get out of the way. Yes. Change in how we think. And then I'm gonna talk to you about how to do that again. Okay, changing how we think. All right. Cognitive behavior therapy. Thank you. Yay. I know. I can't wait for a break now. Cognitive behavior therapy. A psychologist back in the 1960s came up with this. And this is the most awesome thing I believe. You're welcome. This is the most awesome thing I believe I've ever read. And I'm so into it because I've seen how it works and how it's always worked for me. That it's what I teach, and everything about blended recovery is about cognitive behavioral therapy. So cognitive is how you think. That's what that word means, thinking. Your cognition, your ability to think. Behave. Obviously, your behavior. And this is to fix it. Your therapy, right? To fix it. And I tell you, I've forgotten his name, and I can't believe I have forgotten his name. But the fact that when I was reading about him and how he did these different kind of experiments with people on people recognizing they're not thinking right, stinking thinking What about, let's call it stinking thinking? They're not thinking right. In recovery, this is when you really dig into your thoughts, because it all comes down to your thoughts. You have written on your safety plan where you're not going to go, who you're not going to talk to, and what you're not going to do. But if you get lost in your thoughts, the next thing you're going to do is end up where you're not supposed to be. It makes sense? So we have the facts. It's in black and white. But if we're not thinking the right way, no matter the fact that we know what we should not do, our thoughts are going to take us right back to it. So I go to a shower yesterday, a baby shower yesterday. And I walk in, and I don't know very many people there. So then the people that I did finally recognize did not look the same way that I saw them 10 years ago. As well, I'm sure they thought the same about me, you know. And then I ended up talking to a lady that I actually went to high school with for 15 minutes before I recognized who she was. Because, wow. And these are not people in active addiction. These are at all. So it's not about that. It's just about life, and people change. We look different. We grow up. You know, we limp around now. We got gray hair. Wow. I'm like, oh my gosh. I just couldn't believe it. Especially this one person. It really got to me. It freaking got to me. So the whole evening, I'm thinking about this. Like, oh my gosh, we're growing up. We're getting old. Things are changing like in a snap of a finger. Like, what have I been doing all my life, you know? And here we are. And it's just going to get worse. We're going to get older looking and older looking. So my thought process is, I've got to do something different. I've got to do something different. I've got to take care of myself. I don't want to look like that. Now, it is what it is. We're going to grow up, and I'm not having any surgery, period. So it's not about that. But I do recognize what I need to be doing different, because I don't like the results. So I was in my head thinking, oh, it just might as well just be over. Well, I can't go through that. What? Oh my gosh, we're not going to have a reunion when I'm in my 70s, and then nobody going to recognize anybody. And oh my gosh, I'm just going to feel like that, right? So I'm getting in my head, getting down. Huh?
You're not too far from there, are you?
No. So I'm getting in my head, and I'm kind of getting down on myself. Okay. So I recognize a couple things need to change. One,
Use that cream.
yep, I got all the creams. That's the one thing I do have. But I don't drink water. That's a change that I recognize. I was asking you when you first got one, do you have water in there? I'm like, I got to start drinking water. Maybe if I get me a big, pretty cup. No. My grandfather says it's not about the equipment. You just got to do it. He was the coach I talk about. It's not about the equipment. You just got to do it. Anyway, so I'm recognizing I need to be drinking. What is it you drink? Supposed to 8 cups a day? Is that right? 8 cups a day of water.
Start off with a bottle, okay?
To get your system cleansed or whatever. And so there's the water thing. Then I have on my little workout pants right now, because I'm thinking when I go home, I'm going to run. So again, it's not about the equipment, because I put them on. I put on my exercise clothes all the time, and I've yet to exercise. I'm serious. And then I'll give myself an excuse. The last time I wore the tennis shoes I have, my back hurt after wearing them all day. Well, I'm not running in those tennis shoes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not running in those tennis shoes.
So you're running your high heels?
No, I'm not running in my high heels. But I do have a couple other pair of tennis shoes I could try, you know? I actually do. A couple other pairs. A couple. Yeah, the pink ones. I'll try the pink ones. The orange ones aren't working. So it's like, what is it that's going to actually make me apply what I know to do? That's what I'm asking you today. How do we get there?
Have somebody to do it with you.
How do we get there? Have somebody to do it with you.
You got to be held accountable.
What if it's just me? I got to hold myself accountable, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we make ourselves not go to that place,
Have
right?
someone go with you. Or
How do we really make-
plans? Like, get a workout buddy. That way you guys can like motivate each other.
I like that, a plan. I don't like the buddy thing, but I do get it, and it works for a lot of people. To have
Make
somebody, we're going to meet at 6 o'clock at the park, and we're going to walk.
I made my own boundaries, like my own rules, like I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. You know, that's what I had to do.
Right. But it's about this. It's about cognitive behavioral therapy. It's about how we think, which tells us how we're going to act. Right? It's about how we think, and that's going to fix what we do. So if I give myself a plan, a daily plan, what about a routine? I grew up with a routine in my world that was so strict, I cannot stand anything about a routine today still. Where is my mind? It's in the back. It's in the past. I get to do what I want to do, and it doesn't have to be about anything that happened to me in the past. So I would say a routine. Give myself a routine, and another word for that would be structure. And this is all about the thinking, okay? The thinking. Now, it's got to be something realistic that you can actually maintain. You can actually do it. So, am I going to start out? Here's the thing. Am I going to give myself on my plan? Am I going to state that I'm going to get up at 8 in the morning and I'm going to run a mile? I better not, because I don't see that being very realistic for me. And that's my problem, is I can't find the realistic answer. So, does that mean I quit and give up? No, because I want to feel better and I want to be healthy. So I've got to give myself a realistic plan. Now,
So then that would be like, all right, so you know you don't want to go running, so you need, if you're, all right, so if your thing is exercise, and you know you're not going to go running, then you need to pick something else.
yeah.
Or do exercise
Now,
stuff.
what I do like
Right.
is walking.
There you go.
So then that would be realistic for me to walk. And I got lots of hills. That's exactly right. And that's exactly what I need to do. I think I'm not going to take the dogs, though, because they stop at I can't get anywhere with them. They stop at every tree, and yeah. But it's I think I just need to do that for fun and go right up and down the street. But I think when I walk, that I can actually go up some hills, and I know I'm going to feel better when I finish. I know I'm going to feel better. Do you not recognize every day that you have done the next right thing, that you have maintained your sobriety, that you don't feel good? You don't recognize, pat yourself on the back. You did good today, Absolutely. It makes you feel better. So it's like accomplishing goals that are realistic.
I was out in the gazebo thing at the hotel, and there were these guys that came out, there's a bottle of liquor standing right there, sitting right there, and they're smoking. And, so I'm on the phone, whatever, and I didn't even realize that until I came back up to my room, and I was like, you realize that because normally I'd have been like, there's a bottle of liquor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you
hey,
wander
how
over
you
there
doing?
and
You know
start
what I mean?
introducing
Just
yourself,
trying to,
right?
Trying to talk to him, and I didn't even, when I got back up there, I was like, you realize, I realized then that I didn't even, like, none of that basically.
Good for you.
Yeah, so, and it wasn't like,
You're making progress.
yeah, that one was a big one, and I didn't even realize it until later. I was like, you realize you just did what you just did?
Mhm.
And it wasn't like I was sitting there going, oh no, I want it. I wasn't even, that
Good for
didn't
you.
even happen.
Good
So,
for you.
Yeah.
You're getting better.
Yeah.
You're getting better. You're getting better. All right. So with that thought, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and finish, because this is the most important part of change. This makes everything happen, what we're going to finish talking about. So let's take a break, because my little frappe thingy is staring at me, and I cannot wait to taste it. Okay. So we'll be back here in about 10 minutes, 10 or 15. We usually like to talk and catch up while we're outside. So I'm just going to put this on mute, and we'll see you in a few.
We're sitting in class.
We're sitting in class at Woody Recovery. Okay. So the routine and structure, we got to give ourselves routine and structure that is realistic. So let me ask you this. Let's do this. A lot of times you don't currently have routine and structure in your life because you've never ever had it, so you don't know how to do it, or you had it so much that you're done with it. Okay? But as adults, we're supposed to have structure too. Your people that are not in active addiction, who are in recovery, have structure. That's something that makes them healthier than us. okay? Because they have structure in their life. So let's look at your average day.
Everyone thrives on structure.
Everyone.
Children, adults.
That's right. You'll always hear that when in in parenting, and I sometimes go there, but children thrive with structure. This is why they will go to school and they do so well, because they know what's happening. They know what the next thing is that they're going to do. They know what everybody's like. They have a plan all day, and they get home and they're, you know, because they've had their structure at school and they've been able to manage well. They need it at home too. So we are emotionally immature people. We are. We're like children, kind of, because we're trying to kind of start over. We got to give ourselves what we needed from our parents that we didn't get. So the structure would be, what time do you get up in the morning? Let's just make a daily, your average, let's say an average Monday through Friday. If I'm going to do it for myself, I'm going to do it for the structure. You do it for yourself. Okay. This is the structure. This is a different way. This is change, and it's a different way of thinking. So we're giving ourselves structure. So the first thing is getting up in the morning. Okay. So let's say, I don't know what time if I would get up at 8, I get up at the last minute and rather run and forget this and get frustrated and forget that and have to go back, and here we go. So that gives me, you're doing your own. What time you need to get up. Now it's not that's not what time I get up. This is what time I need to get up. I'd even do better if I got up a little earlier than that, but I'm going to be realistic. What now? 5 o'clock every morning. Is that working for you? You do it.
That's 5:30. She has to be on the bus by 6:30.
There you go. So see, you already know kind of what you're doing. And the structure comes in to play in the downtime. So this will be easy at first. Okay. So here's what I would like to do. 8 o'clock, get up. And the second thing I would like to do is I found 3 sets of little weights. Now look, I can turn on the news and do this, right? With my little hand weights. I can do this. You know, I need to do that. I don't even have to go running or walking. I just thought of that. I've got 3 sets, 3 different sizes, those little hand things. Man, I could do that okay, so let's say at 8:30, I'll do that till 8:30, okay? For 30 minutes. Then 8:30 is shower. I guess I did that anyway. And all the things that have to do with getting ready. And then out the door at 9:30. Outdoor. 10 o'clock at work. And then once I get here, my day's structured. So and then, so let's say 6 o'clock, go home. So you know what you do once you get to work. Now this is where it becomes a problem. So I might go home and go straight to bed when I've got things that need to be done. You know, I get you. But although I can do whatever I want to as a grown-up, I'm trying to give myself a plan, because that keeps our thoughts in check. You see? So let's say 6:30, I'm going to eat something. Luckily, it's just me. I'm not cooking for a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? So I can eat a sandwich or a cereal or whatever I want to eat. But and I have to eat. You know, I got to get the food in, you know. So let's say, now listen, it's getting dark soon here, but at 7, take a walk. And by the way, when you do a little exercise, physical activity, you sleep better at night. You know, y'all ever notice that? Sleep better.
I'm not gonna go by yours because,
No, don't go by mine.
I mean, I see
They told me it'll help my blood pressure if I walk more.
your work, so.
Absolutely helps your blood pressure. Lots of benefits from exercise. And I'm not talking a lot. Little bitty weights. And Yeah, so you don't have to implement that. Some people are really working hard and you're outdoors or you're exercising. I get that. It's not for everybody. This is your average day. So if I'm gonna take a walk, I know by 7:30 I'm back. You know. I'm in group. Hey, I'm in group. No, Tina was. We're trying to get the Beauty for Ashes number. Can you send me that number? I can't find it. Okay. Bye. Okay. Sorry. At 7:30. Okay. So now what am I gonna do? I have to really think about this.
Take a shower.
I got you. What now?
Take a shower. Get ready for bed.
Yeah, that sounds good. I know I'm not gonna do 2 showers a day though. I just, yeah, I know. I'm being realistic. I tell you what I could do is get ready for next day
Right.
because I'm all the time looking at different lessons and thinking about what I'm going to do or teach, you know, and it's about 30 minutes. And then, 8 o'clock, I'm going to do what I enjoy doing, which is, Pinterest and news and celebrity stuff. And then at 9 I could watch a movie. Hey, y'all notice what's not in here? Hey, I'm being realistic.
11.
What?
Instead of 9, you know.
I've not done one chore all day. I don't want to. I don't want to do any chores. Crap.
We'll just erase that one.
No, but I got, see, no, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Little changes. I don't want to make the bed. I just don't like to do it. My husband he does all that stuff. Like he likes to do all that stuff. So I let him have at it. And I just wander around, you know. But I really need to implement me a little something. I could wash some clothes every day.
You have enough to do every day, though. I mean, it's not like you got a bunch of people at your house. You know, I mean, when it's just you by yourself, so like every other day.
I don't
Maybe
have as
every
many
other
as
day.
you do.
I guess I could. I'm going to do 15 minutes at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, I'm going to do maybe wipe the kitchen table.
Find one item to dust.
And maybe wash clothes. I'll wash a load of clothes. Now, and then at so at 8:15 I can do my Pinterest thing, right? That work? I'm only gonna do 15 minutes of work. Yep. See how hard it is for me to even give myself structure. I know it's hard. I know it. Nobody said it. I mean, it is hard sometimes. But the downtime is where we've got to fill it in. We got to fill in things that we need to do every day, and then we got to hold ourselves accountable. Idle time is dangerous. It is. That's when you get in your thoughts, and we're trying not to get in our thoughts. So we got to have a plan.
It's like one of the things I was talking about with Danielle. Like it's hard for me, like for the job that I do. You know, I'm in the because I'm cleaning rooms. So guess who's in her head and by herself all day long?
Well,
I
no,
mean, you're not talking to anybody. You're not like, there's nothing.
you could
So,
put the little thingy in your ear and listen to some music, maybe.
yeah, I do that.
Mhm.
But,
How it works. Whenever I first became homeless, lost my kids. I started using more.
Sure.
The more I use, the more I got
Yeah.
my mind, the more.
Correct. And sometimes when the worst case scenario happens, you lose your kids, rather than getting it together and doing everything we got to do to get them back, we feel so hopeless because of the worst thing that happened. It makes us worse. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? Beat myself up.
Even in the beginning when it first happened, like, I didn't even lose my kids like they were at their dad's the whole time. And I wanted to get the help, but the whole time, I wanted to get help. I was always afraid that these kids would go to school and take them away, which in the end result kind of, made it worse. I had to take them away anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that whole reaching out thing, there's fear in that.
Mm-hmm.
There's,
Reaching out for help, there's fear in that.
yeah.
I got you.
sometimes, like, it's because of what you said, you're reaching out for help, and so really, where they're looking at you like, oh, you're doing the right, you really are doing what you're supposed to be doing, but we're afraid that, like
We
you
always
said,
had a thought in your mind.
that
you know.
DCS is gonna come us in the door because we asked for help.
Sure, I got you.
And that's when they, they find out that you are doing this.
Yeah. So moving forward, though, because we're making these changes, clearly, I get you. Clearly, I get you. But moving forward, so what's happened is you've gotten yourself into a program where we're able to help you. You're getting some help you need. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself in a program. That's right. Now it's easier to reach out for help because you're in a program like this and we're trying to help you. We're not calling DCS to give them all the bad details of we want to give them positive things. That's why you're here. We're working towards a better day. We're making changes. This is the right place. A recovery program is the right place to get the help you need. Okay, so let me add something because I've noticed I have struggled for the past 2 weeks because I haven't been doing my daily affirmations, doing my daily readings to get me started, my thought for the day. I have not, and I normally do that. So how about I do that first thing? Thought for the day. Positive. And what about before I go to bed? Let's say 11, sleep. Before I sleep, I read one day at a time. I have a one day at a time book. It's a recovery book. And you go to sleep with a really good something positive in your head. And that's another way to help you with bad dreams. If you're thinking positive thoughts when it's time to go to sleep, if you're all in your head and it's all negative and frustration and all, you're more likely to have some bad dreams. So you've got to change the way you think, and that's one way to do it. You know, I also know that I need to pray, and I don't know sometimes why, because my higher power, I don't know, you're doing your own thing, but man, that helps me so much. It is amazing how much prayer helps me. My Moody radio in my car. I noticed I got in the car. Me and Stephanie went shopping for a birthday. I didn't have it on Moody radio. You notice that?
Yeah, it was us.
I normally it was on some rock and roll music,
Yeah.
which I love. I love listening to music. But I also know that when I listen to the Moody radio in my car, I am so much better. I'm just learning something. It just helps me to be more self-aware and so much better when I have that going on through my day. Okay, so everybody have you given yourself a little bit of structure? Now, the weekend, of course, is a whole different thing. But the weekend, yes, you can include rest in your weekend, right? That's what the weekend's for. Although when you got lots of kids, that might be hard.
They go to their dad's, but I work because I have them through the week, so I don't work through the week, but I work doubles on the weekends to make up for it. So I work 5 shifts on the weekend. Friday nights,
that's good.
Doubles on Saturdays and doubles on Sundays.
Good for you. So clearly your schedule's all different than anything I would put here. Marvin is not getting to see his daughter right now, so he's considering a weekend job too. Why not just start making more money? What else is there to do, right? Hey, absolutely. Why not make a little more?
Less time to make bad choices if you're
You might
working.
come to class every day, get you less time to make mistakes.
And so the weekend is when I've incorporated my little projects that I do, just with things I have laying around the house. And that's what anybody can do. It might not be what your thing. I don't know what your thing would be, but you might. It's Christmas coming up. Those felt Christmas trees or a Christmas tree that you can put your jewelry all. What might you do for people for Christmas? Maybe you start working on your Christmas list. Maybe you start doing for 1 year for Christmas because I couldn't afford to buy people something. I did. I wrote a poem. About 3 little, what do you call them? Anyway, and framed it and signed it. And when my grandmother passed, that was one of the things that I got to get back from her. She had it hanging up in her den where she sits all the time. It made me feel really good. Maybe you could work on what you're going to do for projects for people, you know? If you got kids, maybe work on some sort of crazy Halloween something for them. If you don't have the money to go buy it, you can do that. You know, just to give yourself things that are along the lines of your interest to do it. If it's not work, because you got to have things to keep your mind busy. Okay. So moving forward from this, going back to the cognitive behavioral therapy. There's a reason we did this. As an adult in recovery, we must implement routines now this is the motivation to implement a routine, have the motivation to sit down and write out what you're going to do. And then we're going to have the self-discipline to do it daily. So we got motivation and self-discipline. These are things we have to give ourselves because we're adults and we're supposed to. We're supposed to be self-disciplined to take care of things. If we go to work, we self-discipline to get our job done. Okay, when we get home, we got to be self-disciplined to do a few things. Okay? Motivation, self-discipline to do it. Small goals accomplished. Helps how we think about ourselves. How we think. Let's do that. How we think. That's what we're looking for. And pat yourself on the back every day. You did it and you can sleep good at night. What we think about controls how we feel. How we feel controls how we act. And how we act controls how we think. If I'm going through my day and I am self-disciplined, I'm motivated to do it, and I'm self-disciplined, meaning I'm getting everything done that I have told myself I'm going to do, right? I'm thinking the right way. I know what I'm going to do next. I know what I just did, and it's good for me. Got some good thoughts going. I'm going to feel better about myself, and then I'm going to act in good ways. The better you feel about yourself, the better you behave. How you feel good about yourself, one of the most basic ways is to give yourself small goals that are realistic that you can accomplish and do it. And it makes you feel good about yourself. That little goal of my material and my little pumpkins, I just felt so good about myself after I finished that. You know, it's like, really? Wow, I could do that. I did a good job. I feel better. I'm going to act better. And then I'm going to think better going through the next phase of the day. What we think about controls how we feel, and how we feel controls how we act. How we act controls how we think. And the one thing we can control is how we think. Accomplishing small goals. This is how we do it, with motivation, self-discipline, routine, and structure. We're doing it every day. We're patting ourselves on the back. We have self-compassion. We got to give ourselves some compassion. Now I'm going to have to do a whole different thing for the weekend. If I don't have any place to go or anything to do, nothing planned, if my grandson's not coming over or something like that, I've got to give myself some discipline that weekend. I need to do this. I need to do that. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it time. I pat myself on the back. I've done good. Bam. Sleep good. Feel better about myself. Get up and do it all over again. This helps your thinking. Positive thoughts is what we want. Positive thoughts. Because I got in my head yesterday about the old people. It took me a couple of hours. What I recognize is, what can I do to take care of myself? What do I need to do to take care of myself? You know? Finally, I got to that point. Now I've got to get the motivation to do it, and then I'm going to feel better. You know, I got to that place yesterday where I just threw my hands in there. Oh, well, oh my gosh, there's just no hope. Oh my Lord. I might not can control it all, but I'm definitely going to feel better if I do what I know I need to do. It's all about how you think, and you can control that. If you don't like how you're thinking, change it. And I finally said to myself, okay, I've got to do something different. And I'm going to, because I care. We care in recovery. We actually care about ourselves. Or we wouldn't be in recovery. This was called cognitive behavior therapy. And it's the basis of everything I'll teach. It's how you think, and you can control how you think. You can control how you think. And if you'll do that and you want to feel good, then you're going to think positive thoughts and you're going to automatically begin to feel better. We're going to stay in the present moment, accomplishing those small tasks we set out for ourselves. We're going to feel better about ourselves. Doing the next right thing one day at a time.
Like being our own
Like my little one day at a time.
I live by those rules.
One day at a time. Absolutely. You know, we get overwhelmed. That's just like I had already taken myself to 70 years old. You know, I'm like, come on, let's go back now. One day at a time. One day at a time.
Life's running too fast.
Absolutely. And when we have the bad things that happen to us, if it's DCS or whatever, we get overwhelmed and become hopeless overall, right? Then let's break it back down to one day at a time. Because it's not hopeless. It's going to be all based on our choices. One day at a time, I can do the right thing, feel better about myself, and continue to do it. That has to have a lot to do with Marvin's and the good choices that he's been making and maintaining his sobriety. It's because he's had to feel pretty good about himself and what he's been able to accomplish, right?
Come a long way.
That's right. You're directing your daily activities. You're not responding or reacting to the neighbor down the street that wants to call you a name. No, I don't have time for that. I got to get in here and get my clothes washed because that's on my schedule to do right now. You're directing your path, not everything else in the world. You're not reacting to everything else in the world because you don't have to anymore. You direct your path. Okay? All right. That's all I got for A&D today. So take your notes, make a picture of them. I'm sorry, you already took your notes. Make a picture of them. Send them to us at 423-371-0858. Okay?
Thank you, Heidi.
Hope everybody got something out of our lesson today. And we'll see you back at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Is that right?
You
Yes.
said
2 o'clock tomorrow.
371-0858.
Bye.
Thank you again for the drinks.
You're welcome. That was fun. When we have a small class like that, maybe we can do that now and then.